And all I want to encourage people to understand, if you do feel trapped, my advice is to give yourself permission to be obedient to that thing in you that's pulling you toward your destiny rather than all the outside voices. Give yourself permission to be everything that God has called you to be. Drown out all the noise. Drown it out. And be everything that God has called you to be. Yeah.
You are here. Welcome to the Purpose Finder podcast. This is the show where we uncover why you are truly here and, more importantly, how to make it your reality. My father, the late Dr. Myles Munroe, said the greatest tragedy in life is not death, but life without purpose. And research further shows that people with a strong sense of purpose are 2.4 times more likely to feel fulfilled. Each week, I sit down with extraordinary guests, entrepreneurs, artists, thought leaders who are boldly living their why. We dive deep into their journeys, the struggles they have overcome, their breakthroughs, and the lessons that can help you do the same. I am your beautiful host, Charissa Monroe-Wilborn, and we're about to explore the mindsets, tools, and strategies to help you live a life with purpose, passion, and legacy. Are you ready? Let's go and dive into the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are with another amazing episode of the Purpose Finder podcast, where you know it. Our mission is to inspire you to find and uncover your life's purpose and to live a life flowing with those three things: meaning, fulfillment, and significance. Why? Because we all crave belonging. No one wants to feel unfulfilled. And we are all somewhere searching, asking that big question: why in the world am I here? Well, I hope you get your answers right here on the podcast. I am your host, Charissa Monroe-Wilborn, and today I sit with another special guest who is amazing, walking in his purpose, living out his purpose, and doing it boldly. We're going to hear about his journey, some lessons along the way, some challenges, and we're going to learn from what he has gone through to get him to where he is today. Help me welcome Randal McKoy. Randy, how are you? Welcome.
Wow, it is so good to be with you and to connect and to have this conversation. I'm so excited. So excited to be with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for saying yes. Thank you for being willing to be a part of the podcast. I know you have so much that you're doing, and I want us to get right into it because you have a story to tell. And I want others to be able to hear. There's a lot that you and I resonate with together. We are
Oh, yeah.
both preacher's kids. You're the son of a bishop, as you put it. My dad never liked the title, so I wouldn't call him a bishop, but I'm
Uh,
definitely the son. I'm the daughter of well-known, profound pastor, the late Dr. Myles Munroe. And so
oh,
you
yeah.
and I are going to share a little bit about what that's been, what that journey has been like along the way. But please share with my audience. They don't want to hear me talk. They do want to hear all from you, who you are, where you're from, and all the great things you're doing in the world.
Well, again, so great to be with you. I do think about the fact that two, I would call offsprings of great legacies are getting together right now to talk. I was born in New Jersey into the McKoy family. And the best way I can start is that from a very early age, hearing stories about my grandfather from Jamaica, um, from the time I could just even remember speaking my first word, I'm hearing about the legacy that he left. I never met him. Grandfather died many years ago. But growing up every Sunday and hearing about your grandfather, Deacon McKoy, he used to do this in Jamaica. He helped this one find a place. He gave this one a job. Imagine from a child hearing the greatness of the family that you were born into and the pressure starting very young, because I would just hear from somebody in church that came from Jamaica to America, and they're always telling stories about him, how he helped them, how he was able to serve the community. And so from an early age, I'm starting to already have in my mind, okay, I have some big shoes to fill. I need to do something. and to see that passed down to his son, my father, and my uncles and my aunties, all devoted to faith and all devoted to service. From a child, I can tell you that that pressure started that, okay, I need to focus on helping others and I need to make an impact in the world. Very young, from a little boy.
So let's talk about the pressure,
All
because
right.
there's pressure. You and
Mm,
I know it well. There's the pressure of following in our father's footsteps, whether it's internal pressure, pressure that we put on ourselves, and then there is the pressure and the expectation of others that they would put on us based on who our fathers are, what's their legacy, what's the past.
yeah.
So, talk to us about what some of those pressures and expectations have been and how you have dealt or managed them along the way.
Oh yeah. So as I started to get older and I'm in church and my dad's the pastor and the bishop and he's preaching and you're starting to get those comments. You're going to be just like your dad and your grandfather. You're going to be a preacher. You're going to be a pastor. And hearing that from a young age and going into my teenage years now and becoming a youth leader in the church, there was the weight that I needed to follow in those footsteps. I had to. Almost sometimes feeling like you don't even have a choice. This purpose has been set out for you even before you were born. That's how it feels when you grow up in church, and you probably can relate that this is something you have to do. And so, having to be around people in my community always looking down on me, looking at me, you better live right. You got to do right. Your father, your grandfather, your mom, you have to make all these people proud. That is a lot of pressure. And so, part of me knew I had to do it and felt I had to. And as I turned into a teenager, okay, I'm taking on youth leadership. But along that same time, I'm starting to think about myself and my own dreams and my own goals that I eventually want to pursue. And I'm noticing as I'm getting a little older, I'm turning 17, 18 years old. I'm just becoming interested in doing things outside of my upbringing, if that makes sense. I'm starting to dream about seeing the world and traveling and leaving my comfort zone. But at the same time, I'm thinking, can I really do this? Am I really going to be able to leave the weight of expectations and pursue what's in my heart? I don't know, but I'm noticing that tugging is starting as I'm starting to get older. And I remember at 17 years old, I'm in church. And as you know, in our church, you have the prophets. They love to prophesy, they love to give you a word. And I'm 17 years old. Prophet brings me up to the altar and he's like, the Lord said, you're going to see the world and you're going to do this and you're going to be great and everyone's going to know your name. I'm 17 years old. I'm wondering, okay, what does this actually mean? But I'm realizing that there's these things in me that are already being formed that I want to step out of the box, step out of my familiar surroundings, step out just the process that has been laid out for me by others and to pursue things outside of my hometown of New Jersey. But I'm still trying to figure out, is this really going to work? Am I really going to be accepted? But I can't shake the feeling, right? And so as I entered my 20s, I made a decision in my mind. I really want to pursue leaving New Jersey and pursuing my dreams and leaving my hometown. And I had to make that decision to do it, and I did. I did. I ended up leaving. And so I left New Jersey for the first time in my 20s. I had moved to Washington, D.C. And I always remember the first time that summer when I left. It's 2009. And I'm telling everybody, okay, I'm moving to DC. I'm going to be on my own. And guess what? I'm away from family. I'm away from my surroundings. I'm realizing, okay, I'm going to have to push my own key now. Mom and dad is not going to be there to pay the bills. It's on me. And I remember when I first got to DC, it was about 2 weeks later. We got some news. We got an email that somebody was special that was going to be coming to the job that I worked at. And I was working at the time for Habitat for Humanity International. That was my job, and specifically helping low income families to find affordable homes. And so we got news that someone special is going to be coming to the job September 11th. That's the National Day of Service. We didn't know who was coming. We were hearing different names: Colin Powell, Hillary Clinton, all different kind of names. And I remember getting up that morning, and my job was going to be to paint that day, right, at the house with volunteers. And I'm upstairs at the top floor, and I'm getting my paint together and my brush and everything to lead volunteers. And all of a sudden, I heard a whole big ruckus downstairs. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? As I begin to make my way downstairs, I see Michelle Obama at the bottom of the steps. And I'm obviously in a state of shock. And I just walk down and hi, Michelle. My name is Randy McKoy. It's so nice to meet you. And then I see Barack beginning to walk in, and I'm just, okay, hello, Mr. President. My name is Randal McKoy. This was a couple weeks after DC, and I remember feeling, okay, this is where I belong. This is new. This is fresh. This is not where I come from, but okay, this is a journey that I can begin to take. And I started to feel at home. And that's kind of my first step outside of my comfort zone.
Mm. So let's go back a little bit. Let's come back to that, but let's go back to the burden and the struggle of
Mm.
know you are wanting to do your own thing, follow your own path, but then that pressure of staying home and being in the church and a part of the church and being a
Mm.
part of the youth and just following in dad's footstep. Did you ever find yourself wondering, thinking, or drifting into, this is not what I want to do, and so I'm gonna rebel?
Oh, that was a general feeling, but I'll tell you what was the greater feeling at the time. I always felt that God wanted me to be myself.
Mm.
I always felt that. I always felt that God was pleased. So when I made that decision to step out for that first time, I felt that He was with me. But while
Mm.
feeling that He was with me, I also felt, okay, my surroundings may not necessarily be with me right now. Because I remember when I first left, I would go home once or twice a month from DC because it's only 4 hours away. So I would come home maybe once or twice to go to church on Sundays. And I could feel it. Ah, you're gone. You're not really here. Feeling that pressure from expectations within my church community. But at the same time, I remember, okay, God is pleased with me. You may not totally be with me. You may not totally be feeling this move that I've made, but I'm maturing. I'm
Mm.
actually a better preacher when I come home now because I'm having experiences.
Exposure.
I'm getting out
Hmm.
the box. I'm meeting new people. I'm having intercultural opportunities. And so I was becoming a better preacher at this time once I left, a better youth leader. And I felt that God was with me. That was the big thing. But at the same time, to be honest, no, I didn't always feel that people were or my surroundings were at the time. But the strength that was starting to build was that God was happy with me. So I was like, okay, God, I feel that you're with me. This is really what you want me to do. At the same time, okay, I'm coming home on the weekends. I'm not really feeling that overwhelming support that I probably would want to feel, but I'm gaining strength because I know that he's with me. So it was an interesting tension going on. God is happy with me, but my surroundings, I'm already starting to sense they may not fully be with this move and this destiny and this path that I'm on. I hope that makes sense.
Yes. Did you ever feel pressure from your father, or was
Oh,
your father one of those? And this may be a very intimate question, so you can
yeah.
let me know if you don't want to answer. But did your dad push you to be you and do you, even if it's not with me, or was he
Mm.
the father that says, "I want you here. I need you here. This is where you belong"?
That's such a great question. And I'm glad I could just be transparent and dad is out there listening right now. My dad was very supportive because guess what now? Even though I'm pushing my own key and I got to pay my own bills, I remember my dad gave me the money to get my first, bed set and furniture out in
Isn't that an
DC.
amazing feeling?
Oh, talk to me about it. I
Isn't that an
wouldn't be any.
awesome feeling when your parents, the very people who you're supposedly supposed to be like, when they support your dream, even if they know that Maybe he is supposed to be here, but I need him to go out and learn for himself. I've trained him enough to where if he wants to come back, he comes back. But the support that we get from mom and dad, the support that you get from him, and I was hoping that was your response. Even if it wasn't, it was okay, because I remember my parents being the same way with my brother and I, with me specifically. You know, when we wanted to go off to college, when we wanted to stay over and still do college and then work, there was never no, but I need you here. You need to come home. Or there is no, you can go to school, but you must come back. You must be in the church. You must go to church every day. You must be a part of the youth. I need you. There was never any of that. There was no problem. That's what you want to do. You want to go and be a social worker? Me and mom got you. You want to go and study business? Me and mom got you.
Right.
We went to
Yeah.
Oral Roberts University, the same school
Oh
that
wow.
my dad went
Awesome.
to. Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine, or ORU is more of your Bible scholar, seminary school. But I took up social work. My brother took up business. Never once did my dad say, why didn't y'all bother do seminary or
Mm.
Bible studies, or it just was not, it wasn't for us. It wasn't what we wanted. All he wanted us to do is whatever it is that you're doing, I want you to be excellent at it. Mom and I will pay school fees all the way through and beyond. Anything else you want. When I graduated with all of my studies up to my master's, and I still wanted to stay. I wanted to work, wanted to live on my own. Like you say, dad was the one who insisted, even though I had my own job, could now take care of myself. As a father, he insisted on making sure my cupboards were not bare, my fridge wasn't bare, I had rent. I know that's a beautiful feeling. I'm grateful that you had that father who aren't like some. There are some fathers out there who, as my daughter and as my son, you must be. And if you're not, then you don't belong. And so you have a lot of those children, those pastors' children, who end up truly, truly rebelling,
Mm.
and they turn away from the church.
Yeah. Yeah. I never felt I had to do that. Never
Mm,
felt that I was unsupported or unloved. And it's interesting because and dad has to speak for himself one day and he may just do that. But I felt like okay, dad knows okay, my son's going to come home and he's going to eventually be in position and what I foresee for him. So I'm gonna let him, do what he has to do. But I always felt supported, always felt that love, always felt appreciated. Like, okay, because it was just little things. I remember I was working with Habitat for Humanity at this time, so I'm picking up little skills I never had before, constructing skills. And I remember coming home and I'm doing things around the house that I never would have did as a young boy. So I was becoming a better man by leaving, and I think they saw that, right? But at the
mm.
same time, I'm changing. I'm changing. I'm evolving. I'm having experiences that are very intercultural and different than my surroundings. And so I'm not speaking the same or projecting myself the same as I come home. I'm changing. I'm becoming a different person. I'm maturing. I'm growing. And I'm seeing a lot more of the world at this time. So, yeah.
And so, was there ever a point when you said, okay, it's time to go back home? Or did you just stay away and truly build your own path?
Yeah. And I'm glad we're talking about this because it was what ended up happening is I'm pursuing my purpose and my destiny, and I'm still trying to make New Jersey work at the same time. It's like I'm trying to do both. And so in DC, I fell in love with humanitarian work, and I'm like, okay, I want to go deeper and I want to go more international. And so I remember at that time enrolling in SIT Graduate Institute, otherwise known as the School of International Training. And that school based in DC is just for young people interested in international affairs. It was initially set up to train Peace Corps volunteers. And so when I got into that program, I'm surrounded by folks from Africa, the Caribbean, Asia. I'm just, the whole world is open to me at this point. And I'm saying, okay, this is really what I want to do. And at the same time, I feel that God wants me to do this. And so as I got into that program, I remember one day I got a message from one of my students that was there as well, that Randy, I think you really should pursue the UN. I mean, there's opportunities. You could probably go to Jamaica where your family's from, because it was designated that we all needed to have an internship to graduate. So some were going to work at the World Bank, some were going overseas to work for big NGOs. I knew I was in love with the UN. That was my dream job. And I remember the UN in Jamaica opened up. I remember calling, emailing, running them down. Like, I really want this internship. My parents are from Jamaica. I would love to be able to go. And so I got that internship. And I ended up going to Jamaica for 5 months, serving with the United Nations, fell in love with the work. And when I was done, I graduated. And then I went out to Barbados for about a year, continuing my work with the UN. And then I ended up going to Hawaii for about 5 years working with them. But all along the line, I'm trying to figure out, okay, how do I make my way back? How do I still stay connected to where I'm from? And I'm trying to balance the two. But to be honest, the tension was growing. It was getting deeper. And I'm realizing, okay, at some point, I'm going to have to make a decision, because am I going to be able to fit back in at home? I've changed so much. My journey has left all these marks on me that I'm no longer the little boy that they remember years ago in New Jersey, just as the pastor's son. I am different. I'm not the same. And so every time I would go back home, I'm noticing that I'm just not fitting in as I used to. My very speech is betraying me. I'm different. I got a lot more experiences. I'm not relating as much back home. So even when I'm having conversations with some family and friends, I'm realizing, we're talking, but you don't really understand the Randy today. You still looking at the Randy from 10 years ago, but I'm not the same. And so that tension just built. And at some point, I'm trying to figure out, am I going to be able to do both? Am I going to be able to please dad and mom and church folks and at the same time be me? And I had to carry that weight for a number of years, a number of years.
So when was the defining moment when you realized that you just had to step and forge your own path? Like, do you remember when that moment was when you recognized that this is my calling, this is my purpose, and it's taking me in the opposite direction of everybody else's
Mm.
expectation?
Hey, purpose seekers. If today's conversation has you thinking about your purpose, what it is, how to find it, and how to truly live it, then I have something special just for you. Introducing the Purpose Finder Formula. And you have free access to this 20-minute training designed to help you uncover your purpose and start living it with confidence. No fluff, no guesswork. It's clear, practical, step-by-step guide to finding meaning and gaining clarity and direction. Your purpose is calling. Are you ready? Head over to www.charissamunroe.com/purpose finder formula. Enter your info and I'll send it straight to your inbox. Imagine waking up every day knowing your life has meaning, impact, and joy. That's what awaits you. So don't wait. Grab your free training today. Let's get back to the episode.
I remember while I was in Barbados, this is 2014, and I'm out hanging out at Lime Grove Mall. It's such a special mall out there. A lot of people love to hang out there. I'm hanging out. I get a phone call from dad. I'll never forget it. And when the call came, his voice, I just knew something was wrong. Just listening to him, he sounded so low. He sounded like terrible news was about to come my way. And he just kind of came out straight and said, yeah, I have some bad news. I'm not doing well, physically. Um, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, dad, what exactly are you saying? And he's like, he couldn't really get the words out. But eventually he told me it was a very, very serious sickness and news that he got. And so I had to leave Barbados. I remember going home. And when I got home 2014, immediately got into church mode and service mode and taking on leadership and stepping into dad's stead back home. Like, this is it. I enrolled in seminary at the time, and I'm like, okay, this is it. I had my little travels. Okay, it's over. I'm home. I'm going to focus on giving myself over to the church. And I did. Some weeks are going by. I'm preaching every week. I'm leading. I'm driving dad around. He has to go to the hospital. He has to do his check-ins. And I'm just taking on leadership role at that time. And I'm wondering, okay, this is it for me. This is the end. But dad turned around, and I was so grateful for that. Rather quickly, he started to get better. And around that time, as he started to get better and he started to get back in position, at the same time now, and I'll be transparent to say, I started to get disillusioned because things started to get a little unfulfilling. I'm starting to get now some of the pushback, because how church politics go.
Oh, well aware.
Everybody want to fight for power. Everybody want position. Who is Randy to come back here? Who we think he is, kind of thing. And I'm just trying to figure out, okay, dad as well. He's back in position at this point. Where does that leave me? I'm not feeling fulfilled at this time. And so I remember I went to, and boy, I'm telling this story for the first time. I went to, big conventions that go on in the church world. This is where everybody gets together. And usually I'm the one headlining, or I'm preaching, or I'm doing the youth night, having a prominent position. And I remember I got to that convention that summer, and boy, the politics met me. They didn't put me on the program. And I remember at some point they put me on a slot where they just wanted to give me just a few minutes to talk, that convention. I'm like, okay, this is strange. Usually I'm headlining. Usually I'm the guy that's going to be doing the big night and preaching. It's youth night. No, they put me on a little list to give me 2 minutes. Minister McKoy, you're going to give some words. And during that service, I'm sitting, I have my best friend who is a minister next to me on one side and my other on the left. They're calling everybody out. Oh, we'd like to greet so-and-so, greet so-and-so. They just kind of passing me by. I'm okay. What's going on here? When it's my time to speak, they literally just passed me over, didn't even call me to give my little 2 minutes. And I'll be transparent to say, in that moment, I got so angry because some months had gone by. I could feel the tension brewing. The politics were kind of coming in on me in church. And I'm like, Lord, I don't know if I can do this. And I remember walking into that office, and I looked at some of the leaders and I said, how dare you do this to me? You see that my name's on the program. You see that I'm here. And remember, the weight of me even trying to return home, all of this is playing in my head. And I'm saying, okay, I gave up my career, gave up my travels, gave up everything to return home. My dad's not well, to really put myself in position to serve the church. And this is what I'm receiving. And I slammed the door, and I remember my uncle who passed away. He was looking at me like, what is going on here? Slammed the door, went in the office. And I'm like, how dare y'all disrespect me like this after everything I've done? And I was so angry. And I remember I stepped out of the office. I didn't even wait for the service to be over. I took up my Bible, packed up. I left the service. And in that moment, I went home and I prayed and I said, Lord, what do you really want me to do? I need you to direct me. I can't stay here. I can't do this no more. I'm not being respected. Church politics, dad as well. Thank God. I'm happy about that. And in that moment, I made a decision to return to what God had put in me. And that's when I made the decision to move to Hawaii. And Hawaii ended up being another 5 years. I was gone, left New Jersey, and went back on my diplomatic path. And I knew in that moment, okay, yeah, that was a breaking point.
That was a breaking point. So you were no longer fitting in at home, where everybody expected you would be, where they thought you would flourish. But you knew that your path looked different. You knew that it was different. And it didn't mean that you were abandoning your past or your background, but your path was different. And I think about myself as a preacher's kid. My father's no longer with us, but there was still these expectations. Even to this day, I know that there are expectations of my brother and I excelling, succeeding after his death, now with his legacy he's left behind, but also, are we going to become pastors as well? Or are we going to take over the church? Or are we going to have a church? And to be transparent, no, God didn't call me into pastoring. That does not mean that He doesn't call me into serving in His kingdom. What I love to say on this podcast is purpose looks so different for everyone. It comes in all different shapes and sizes and colors and textures. The way my dad served in the kingdom is not going to be the way that I'm going to serve in the kingdom. It's not going to be the way that my brother's going to serve in the kingdom. And if I tried to face the problems of the world the way my dad did, it would almost be like David. When he was a little boy, they had a certain expectation of how David should have addressed that Goliath. And when they tried to put on these armors, it was too big, it was too heavy, he couldn't do anything. And he was like, look, I gotta do this my way. So I said, I have to do this my way. My brother have to do it his way. You have to do it your way. And we can all still serve. We can all still be solution to problems in the world. I can still fulfill my purpose. But if I try and do it the way the world and society is expecting me to, I'm going to fail. I'm going to hurt. I'm going to walk in anger. There's going to be tension between me and the people I'm serving with. And that's not the way that God would have you to live. And so I'm grateful that you had that moment where you're like, and it's funny how sometimes we have to get to that breaking point of anger and frustration.
Mm. Yeah.
And like you say,
Yeah.
that was your breaking point. Many times it's our breaking point. Sometimes something may go wrong with the job and we got fired or we left, we quit. And at that moment, that's your breaking point to say, I'm supposed to be doing this anyway. Now I'm free to go and be who God has created me to be because this thing was keeping me in a box. So had you tried to fit in as a square into the circle of your home town where you were born, it would have never fit, but you would have been so uncomfortable trying to squeeze your square into this circle. And they would have been so uncomfortable all because you wanted to be a people's pleaser or you didn't want to upset the waters, if you will. And I'm so grateful I've had the parents that I've had who, along the way, from my brother and I were young, they taught us how to not worry about other people's opinions and expectations because those expectations that you and I would be dealing with, they've been there from we were kids. How we should dress, to how we should live, to how if we should be going to parties. And you had to be careful if you went to a party and someone saw you and you know they was going to tell mommy and daddy, oh, mommy and daddy saw me. And I was grateful to say, go ahead and tell mom you saw me to this party. She could be the one to tell you she dropped me off. Like you have to
Yeah.
all these things
Yeah.
get through it.
Right.
Um, and
Right.
I could remember it now from teenager. You're a female, and so you're out and about, and you want to put on your little makeup at the age of 16 or your little lipstick, and
No.
people are next thing you know, mom is coming and saying, "Oh, so and so said they saw you with lipstick on." Did they? Did you tell them that I borrowed it from you? Like you have those type of.
Right.
Oh, my brother, he was one. He wanted to have the earrings and the tattoos, and people had issues with that. My
Oh.
parents were aware. It's not like, even if they didn't appreciate it, they were aware nonetheless.
Mm.
And people always had something to say. Even to this day, Randall, I am a 40 plus year old woman. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And social media is something else. Let me tell you, the world is something else. And, there's always going to be those comments. People expect you to talk a certain way, to dress a certain way, to look a certain way, to
Yeah.
act a certain way. And if you don't according to their expectations and their standards of what you should be, then it's a problem. I'm like, look, if I'm a woman spreading the gospel and you have an issue with the fact that I'm a woman, Either
Mm.
close your eyes and just let your ears work because the word is going to come forth, or stop following.
Right. Right.
But I'm not going to diminish myself
Mm.
because of your expectation of who you think I should be, what I should say, what I should be dressing, how much. Like, my purpose has nothing to do with how you think it should come forth, especially when you're someone that I'm going to be serving.
Mm.
And so I can understand, truly understand how you could say, this day, after this day, I'm out of here. And then you get out of there and you go where it's your calling and it's your fit,
Oh man,
and you flourish. You go to
that's the key.
Hawaii
Yeah.
and you flourish for 5+ years.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? And so there are so many people, Brandy, that are struggling with this very thing, with the expectations and opinions of others. There are people that are struggling with the expectations placed on them, by their family, by their culture. Like, what advice would you give to someone that feels trapped by
Mm.
what others expect of them?
Mm. I love that. As you spoke that, I think about the fact that a fish must be in water to thrive, right?
Yes.
Um, that's their natural habitat. That's where they live. That's where they breathe. You take a fish out of water, what happens? They immediately start to lose breath, lose oxygen, try to breathe, and they start to die because they are
Mm.
out of their natural
Mm.
environment that God created for them.
There
And
you
I
go.
always felt like flowing with God, I'm where He needs me to be. And that was the ability to thrive, is just being in tune with Him. And although every time I step out of that and come back into the familiar or the friends or the church folks or the family, I immediately start to small myself up because I'm trying to make them happy too, you know. I'm trying, just not working. I can't fit in. I try to go left, can't fit in, go right, I can't fit in. Being exactly who God has called you to be and being exactly where He's called you to be, that is what allows you to thrive. Now, it's not easy because now, are you willing to deal with the naysayers, as you
Mhm.
say, the comments, the little snarky, looks that you may get by not fitting in? You got to be willing to go through that uncomfortableness. But
Mm.
being exactly where God needs you to be, that's the key to you thriving. That
Mm.
is so the key. And every time I stepped out and I got back into travel and I got back into getting around the world, I noticed I just pep up. My whole energy changes. I'm happy. I'm excited because I'm where I need to be. But when I wasn't where I needed to be, I'm noticing I'm struggling. I'm dragging. I'm trying my best to make you happy. Okay, you want me to preach today? All right, let me preach. Okay, you want me to go with? It's not me. So be who God intended you to be, but not just be where He wants you to be. Because a lot of times, I've lived all over the world, but it wasn't a matter of, oh, I just want to go to Barbados. I just want to go to Jamaica. I just want to go to Hawaii. That's where God needed me to be to thrive. So even your
Mm.
location and your environment has a lot to do with how you're going to feel,
Mm.
how you're going to think, and are you just like that fish that needs to be in the water? Is that you, or are you that fish that somebody, for some strange reason, took out of the water and they want to be cruel and put them on the beach and now they're starting to die? So you got to be where you need to be. And you got to be in the environment that God needs you to be in order for you to thrive. And that's my journey, just being where God wants me to be and not caring too much about the opinions. Although that was hard, I'll admit it was a process to be able to get over the voices and, but what is this one going to say? And what is that one going to say? But I'll be honest with you, the moment I decided to just be where God wants me to be, I haven't stopped thriving since. And can I be honest with you? Which sounds a little crazy, but I just need to be honest. While I'm in Hawaii, around 2020, obviously COVID came. 2021, we're dealing with COVID. I'm starting to get the desire to return home to New Jersey for the last time. I'm saying to myself, okay, I got the news around COVID that I could either go the diplomatic path, go deeper. I was being offered a position to become an official diplomat because although I was working with the UN, I was not in official capacity as a diplomat, but that opportunity now came to me. And if it did, that was going to carry me for the rest of my life. So I started contemplating again, do I, Lord, go this path as a diplomat, or do I return to New Jersey for the final time, settle myself down in ministry, make you happy, make everybody happy? And do you realize I attempted to do that one final time?
Now, what made
I
you go again, knowing how it went the first time?
Because again, I think what people don't realize, and my folks back in Jersey hearing this for the first time, my heart was always toward the ministry. It was always toward serving them. It was always toward, as I told you earlier, bringing it all together, pursuing my dreams, my passions, my desires for travel, but balancing that out with the ministry and kind of making everybody happy. And as you know, you can't do that. But I had to make that decision. Yeah, I had to make that decision because if I made the decision to go the diplomatic route, that was going to take me from now until probably the end of my life. And I'm saying, okay, Lord, do you want me to return? Do you want me to attempt to do this one last time? And so I called my father. It's COVID going on at this time. We're having Zoom meetings and I'm wrestling with Dad. I'm saying, Dad, look, I'm willing to give this all up. I'm willing not to go this path and come home, serve the ministry, and let this carry me for the rest of my life. And as I started dating my wife, that's one of the first things I told her. I said, okay, I have these two paths. I can either really delve deeper into my passions, my desires, my dreams, and become an official diplomat, or I can save the day and return to New Jersey one last time and really try to do this thing. And I told my dad, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna come home. I'm gonna leave Hawaii after 5 years. And this is my final act. I am going to return. I'm going to serve the church. Me and my wife, we're going to come and just make everybody happy and do the right thing. That was my heart. And do you realize that I attempted to do that? It's end of 2021, and I am making plans to not only settle down with my wife, but to return to New Jersey for the final time, give it all up. And I remember at the time, I'm trying to get the job together in New Jersey. My wife is doing everything she can to get a job secured in New Jersey. They don't see all of this. It's 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm sending out emails to the East Coast. I'm just trying to make it work so that I can return home. And so 2022, I went back home. And strangely enough, I quickly begin to realize, okay, this is not going to work.
This is not it.
This is not it. It just don't feel right. We're not going to fit. My wife, I know she's not going to fit. And you know what, Lord? I gave it my best. I have given everything to try to make it all come together, but it was not to be. And you know what the scripture that the Lord sent me to? He sent me to the scripture where Abraham was called to sacrifice Isaac, and he got everything together, and he's about to make the sacrifice. He got it all set up. And as he's on his way to be obedient to the voice of God, God stops him. He didn't sacrifice Isaac. He didn't end up killing Isaac. But God wanted to just see if he would be obedient. And that's what God showed me. Son, I saw your heart all these years. You've been trying to make it back home. You've been calling your dad, calling mom. You trying to get back. You trying to fit in because you want to get it. You want to fit. You want everything to come together. It just won't fit. I just want you to be you. And whether they're going to celebrate you or not, and whether they're going to receive you or not, I'm going to favor your life and I'm going to bless you because I've seen your heart. And when God sees your heart, because my heart was pure all these years, even though I'm going about my business, I'm still thinking of home. I'm still thinking of the people of God. I'm still thinking of mom and dad and the church. And I think God saw that. And so I made the final decision. And it's strange that I would say this on your show, but that was the end of the chapter, the final closing of the book on trying to please others and even trying to attempt to fit in. And I made the decision with my wife that that would be it. And we'll probably never, ever think about that again. But I'm glad that I was obedient to the Spirit of God. And I opened up and I said, and I hope in New Jersey folks probably listening out there today, little do they know my heart. They didn't know those late nights doing everything I could. They don't know that my wife was pushing her job to try to make the East Coast work, doing all these kind of sacrifices to return. But it was not to be. And so now to be freed from all of that, oh my God,
Ugh,
best feeling in the world. Yeah.
the sky's the limit now on what you can do. And so now, where are you? Now, where are you? What are you doing?
Oh man.
Tell us.
So as I, made the decision in 2022, I'm realizing it's not going to work out. Me and wife ended up getting married that fall of 2022, and we officially settled down right here in Los Angeles, California. And as I got here, I'll be transparent to say, yeah, those first months, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable because I'm like, okay, man, Lord, this feels weird because this is it. The final chapter. The book has been closed, trying to please this one, trying to please that one, trying to fit in. It's over. Lord, what would you have us to do? Do you realize that God began to deal with me in such a way that he began to heal me? He began to deal with some of the internal anger of all of those years. And I noticed that he called me to a deep sense of consecration where I had to let go of my pride, let go of my ego, knowing that okay, people can say what they want to say. People can say, "Oh, you're not going to take over the church. Oh, you're this and oh, you're that." Do you realize God began to strip me from the things in me that are not like him? Anger, pride, ego. And as he began to heal me, he began to open up new dreams and new doors. Because that's the thing with God. Until you take your last breath, you're going to continue to dream. And I didn't know that he was going to open up these new doors right here in Los Angeles where I could dream again and open up this understanding that, man, it ain't over yet. Your story's not over. And so we opened up now. We're podcasting, as you can see. I got a new job. And so I'm helping young people get started the way I do. So I took on a head of recruitment role for young people to get started the way I did, who wants to work for the UN or work for the World Bank or get involved in national service. So I help young people to get started the way I did years ago. And now getting fully into assisting others, not just me, to live out their dreams. So that's where Dream Scripted came from. You got a dream, you got a purpose, you got something you want to fulfill. We want to help you now to fulfill it. So that's where I'm at right now.
I'm so glad you talked about people pleasing and closing the chapter to people pleasing. I think people pleasing is one of those very destructive ways that we can self sabotage ourselves and we self sabotage our purpose. Because when you start pleasing people and you start wanting to go according to society's standards and
Yeah.
morals and values or lack thereof, then you have to step out of your own righteous path or godly path that you may be on that you are aware of or not aware of. But the more you start to please people, the more you displease God. It's almost as though you have to pick one. You
Oh, yeah.
please people or you please God. And usually people and God are going in the opposite direction. And so if you had continued to want to please dad and want to please your people back at home or just want to fit into this is where I came from, you may have truly been walking in the opposite direction of God's will for your life. And to those men and women that are listening, pleasing people may be easy. It may be the easy road, but it's also the widest road. And it's also the widest road that's going to lead, like I say, right to destruction versus the narrow road that'll take you exactly where you want to end up in their environment you want to end up in that's going to actually cultivate your purpose and lead you to the people you are supposed to serve. And so it is okay to say no. It is okay to walk away. It is okay to walk away. It is okay to say, no, that's not for me. Or it's okay to say, no, this is not for me anymore. My season has expired, or my season is up. When I left home in 2017, it just so happened that I have not lived home since then. I've been away from home. I've traveled back and forth and visit, but my calling, if you will, has not taken me back home. And when my parents passed, even worse yet, in my mind, I'm thinking, I don't have anything at home. There's nothing at home. However, there are so many ways, there's so many creative ways that God gave me this great mind that I can still give back to home without having to move home. And I love that there isn't a box for me to try and fit in. There is no box, period. I get to create. Like you get to create. Randy, if you wanted to, you could create ways that you can still give back to New Jersey home without going there and without being there. Like there are so many ways that we can do what we would like to do or still serve those who are beyond and outside our realm or our environment without actually making ourselves please people. But if we can close that chapter like you did, we can close that chapter of our lives like you did of pleasing people and say, I'm only going to please God. I'm only going to go according to his will and the purpose and calling that he has for my life. Oh, the possibilities, like you say, are endless. The possibilities, the extensions of your dream are endless. The doors that are going to open because now you're saying no to people and yes to God. And I'm so in love with the name of your podcast, Dream Scripted, because it is your dream. Like there are dreams. And you said for as long as you're breathing, you will forever dream. And for as long as you're breathing, you're going to always have opportunities to make those dreams reality. And so I thank you for sharing your story, Randy. I know that you shared some things that you've never shared before.
Oh man, you
And I'm
let it out.
grateful that you've chosen this platform
Let it out.
to share those because people need to hear. People need to hear. I want my listeners to be able to hear themselves, their stories, their circumstances in other people's who have gone through, come out of, and are doing well, doing great things in the world. Because I hope that they can say, you know what, if he did it, so can I. So please share with those listening how they can get connected to the podcast, where they can listen or
Definitely.
watch it.
Yeah.
Please tell us more.
So everybody, we just started. So what? We're 4 weeks in. They can follow right at Dream Scripted. So Dream and then Scripted YouTube channel, also Instagram, Facebook. You can find us. We're so glad that you were able to share that. And again, we're talking to all dreamers. We're talking to all dreamers. God has given you a dream. He's divinely scripted that. We want to help you and motivate you and give you the tools necessary to fulfill it. We've had a long journey and a long story, but God has brought us to this point where we can fully let go and say, Lord, what you put in my heart, the dreams you've placed in me, despite the challenges, the ups and downs. Because as you know, the path to your purpose can be a little windy, but God's going to get you to the destination. And all I want to encourage people to understand, if you do feel trapped, my advice is to give yourself permission to be obedient to that thing in you that's pulling you toward your destiny rather than all the outside voices. Give yourself permission to be everything that God has called you to be. Drown out all the noise, drown it out, and be
Give
everything that God
yourself
has called you to be. Yeah.
give yourself permission to be obedient. That
Yeah.
is good. That is good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope, Randy, we thank you so much. And I hope that you heard what you needed to hear today to apply to your life starting now so that you can make the dream that you have a reality and have the breakthroughs that you need to have access to all the possibilities that God has for you and your life. Randy, it has been a pleasure talking with you again. Thank you so much. The time has gone. I don't know where it's gone, why it's gone, but
What
here we
is
are at the
time
end.
just go?
And I would love for us to share in one of my favorite experiences, and that's food. I love food. I love to end on food. I'm a foodie. I love to
I
eat.
love it.
However,
Yeah.
I want to share with you or have you share with us what's your favorite meal? What's your favorite dish? What's your favorite restaurant?
I love that. So I'm gonna be a little out of the box because nothing beats my Jamaican culture and Jamaican food. But
Uh-huh.
outside of that, give me some good Italian food. I love Italian.
Okay.
And my favorite is just some beautiful baked ziti right
Mhm.
here in LA, the hometown, a place called Casalina's. Shout out to that. Please, everyone, if you get a chance and you're in LA, you got to go to Casalina's. But Italian, there's something about it. Very homey, makes you feel like comforted when you have some good Italian
I
food.
mean,
So
he's passionate about his Italian. I'm gonna
I got to
try and
keep
put
that.
it's
Yeah.
Kalina's,
Casalina's. So
Casalinas.
Caselana,
I
right
will
here in Los Angeles, Woodland Hills. They're so good. So good.
Casalinas. I'm gonna put them on my
That's it.
list of
Please do.
places to visit. Thank you,
Yes.
Randy, so much. It has been a pleasure. It has been a pleasure. It's been another great episode of the Purpose Finder podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. Until our next episode, make sure you stay strong and stay in there dreaming. Because if you're still breathing, there is still something left for you to do. Until next time, see you soon. Bye. And ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap on this episode of the Purpose Finder podcast. I hope today's conversation lit a fire within you because purpose isn't just something you chase. It is something you live every single day. If this episode resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback helps us reach more people on their journey to purpose. Let's continue the journey together. Join the Purpose Finder community on Facebook for exclusive insights, tools, and a tribe of purpose-driven people just like you. And remember, the two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. Your purpose isn't far off. It's already within you. It's time for you to uncover it and live it boldly. Until next time, stay inspired, stay intentional, and keep walking in your purpose.